Greetings, everyone! Welcome to another week of drafting on Going Optimal. I decided that we would kick off the week with something a little different, although not too different. We did this last week even, but I found it successful. I liked it. That's an interesting way to do things. Kind of takes me back to pre-human drafting on Arena, where there was no pick clock and we would all talk together for a long time as needed on a given pick, or do one really quick as needed. And But now it's kind of the best of both worlds, because what I'm going to do, I had a draft over the weekend. I thought it was a super interesting draft, and it was in the draft challenge, the high level, the higher stakes, I should say, high stakes draft event that Wizards rolled out this past weekend. And I ended up running up the deck to a 4-1 record, where 6 is the maximum. You play until you win 6 best-of-3 matches or lose 2 best-of-3 matches. So we are currently 4-1. We have We have no more fouls to give. We lose and we're done. But if we can keep winning, we could potentially win maximum here. And since it was an interesting draft, and actually I got busy yesterday and didn't really have time to finish, and saw that it's ongoing tomorrow anyway. Also, it let me stop playing on my main account after I'd already won 4 times, because further play on my main account yesterday after I was already 4-1 and had actually won 8 times on the day, and I was done playing that account. I decided I should be done and finish it up tomorrow when Wizards starts paying me gold to play again. As I harp on that all the time, if you want to maximize your free-to-play leverage on Arena, you want to have multiple accounts so you can stop playing when they stop paying and start playing where they're still paying, right? And if you want to start paying where you can still there was a segue in there somewhere. Someone come up with a good segue there. Let's see. Stop playing. You can start paying to keep playing if you go to my sponsor, cardkingdom.com. How about that? My sponsor is awesome. They have everything you need for your tabletop Magic experience, whether it's these singles from Strixhaven. Maybe you're going back in time and working on a cube and want some sweet old stuff. Maybe you just want to get some sweet old stuff before the prices quintuple again or whatever. Their inventory is great, and if they don't have it, their turnover is great. I keep calling that out too, because they don't have everything all the time, but they have basically everything eventually, such that if you use the restock notice on something they happen to be missing, you'll be first to know when they've got it back in stock, and you can jump on it. I've done that a couple times recently. I have been picking up little near mint foil Kamigawa era stuff. I feel like there's some cool cards that are good for my. I kind of keep a cube palette, right? Like I have a bunch of individual cards that if this card were to make it into a cube, this is the one I would want, right? It's my cube ingredients list, and I picked up a couple of sweet Kamigawa foils for my cube palette, which was pretty cool, and I used the restock notice to make that happen. So keep that in mind for all your needs, and sell your cards at high prices, get store credit, and then also, like me, you won't actually break out your credit card or your wallet. You'll just use your store credit on that. So thanks, Card Kingdom. Appreciate it. Check them out via my affiliate link so they know you got there from here, all that good stuff. Now let's hop over to the left monitor. Rocket is got opinions on someone daring to get near our house. I mean, you can't even get near our house without him letting you know that he knows. He's watching you. All right. Left monitor. Here we go. 17 lands, unfortunately, does not grab full pack 1 pick data. I wish I could remember what the rares and whatnot that we passed in this pack were, what other considerations there were. But clearly, I thought Umbral Juke was the best option here, most flexible. I think there was a lesson I was considering. Yeah, but where? I mean, Happy. I tried to actually find. Like I have this up here, but I don't know. I couldn't find it. So if you want to help me out, Happy, and show me how to use, point me to where untap.gg even allows this type of experience. Maybe I could try Untap GG sometime, because it's another tool I use. It's what I use to do my in-game overlay that lets me look at what's left in my deck and all that stuff. You all basically use Cardboard Live for that as you're watching me, but on the on my side, I'm using untapped.gg to see all that stuff. So they're a good service / tool as well. Anyway, Umbral Juke pick 1. We're gonna show picks off so we can discuss the next pack. All right, we've got Umbral Juke to start. And in the second pack, the stuff that leaps out to me as high quality is the Overgrown Arch that could be a pairing with black in Witherbloom. The 2/2 flyer, the Windrake is fine, but not even as much of a priority to me as the Orator or the Combat Professor. I think this Windrake is behind Orator and Professor for which pick. And then these lessons, everybody's coming up on lessons quite appropriately, such that I'm finding more and more if you don't jump on lessons, you might miss the boat, right? I think I took Orator here. This is where we're going to find out what I took, because like sometimes also the interesting thing about doing this is I forget my exact picks. And today Ryan might disagree with yesterday Ryan, because that's also how our brains work, you know. I think I took Orator though, narrowly over Combat Prof. Let's see. Yeah. 2 drops, so important, and this is such a great one. I was happy to pick it up. Now, another interesting spot. We've started in white-black. I'm trying not to mentally marry Silverquill just because our first 2 picks were white and black. That being said, Inkling Summoning is a great lesson, and if we end up in either of these colors, I'm happy to have an Inkling Summoning. So if we are in Silverquill, great. But even if we're partly in either of these colors, we're going to be happy with Inkling Summoning. I think that's what I took, and I hope so, because that's what you should take here, I think. Yep. Owl coming back would be a nice sign, but this is the priority for sure. All right, so now we've got this Silverquill start, but still trying to pay attention to the table. We got a Necrotic Fumes, which I like as a lesson, but I really like it as a Witherbloom lesson if I can get it. I certainly like to have lesson removal. I think if you don't have removal in your lessons, you start to feel it. But at the same time, this is at its best in black-green, which I didn't feel like I was in yet. We have Expanded Anatomy, which is another lesson that is going to go anywhere and is especially good in white-black. White-black ends up being pretty aggressive, so an Anatomy to, pump up your Inkling Summoning into a 4/3 is no joke. So those are I am looking at the lessons though, and Pillar Drop Rescue are also fine. But maybe not the priority here. Pop Quiz also, if I'm trying to be super open, I should maybe consider Pop Quiz, although white-blue and white-black, neither white-blue nor black-blue are supported colleges, so I wasn't, it was a brand new color to be getting into to take that. And I didn't think you should do that when you have something as clean and good as Anatomy, so that's what I took. Flexible, clean, good. So I took this lesson over this one. That was my decision there. But if you took Fumes, I don't blame you. That was a tough one. I was up against it on that decision point. Then we get a super interesting pick here in terms of one of these 2 lessons, which the Stonerise Spirit is, I take these late if they come to me. They wear Expanded Anatomy pretty well. Hat says I took Hunt. Actually, Guiding Voice might be my favorite white learn spell, and I took it. I do like this. Maybe Hat thinks I'm overvaluing Hunt these days. I think it was Rob who was saying he didn't like Hunt in aggressive decks because the body just isn't aggressive enough, and that is fair. When I cast Hunt on 2, when I am trying to be aggressive, I do feel the lack of 2 power, right? Like generally, if you're making a creature on 2 in an aggro, you really want it to have 2 power. But Guiding Voice is so wonderful how it slips in for 1 mana. These powerful 1 mana spells like this just slip in and out of your curve wherever, it's like, I've got an extra, on turn 5, I found the extra 1 mana to do the Guiding Voice, right? Just got to be careful. It's a real blowout to Guiding Voice onto a creature into open mana and then have that creature be removed. You lose not only the counter, but the learn. So as much as I like this, it does have windows of opportunity risk, whereas at least Hunt, you don't need to worry about whether or not your opponent has removal. You just cast the Hunt, right? I would. Koala King says, would you play Dusk Legion Zealot? Hunt is just better? Absolutely. I think Hunt for specimens is Dusk Legion Zealot, but better. That being said, I still think Guiding Voice is better. And if Guiding Voice weren't here, I would have slammed Hunt for sure. It was just these two. I just like Guiding Voice better, despite its risk of blowout if you cast it into open mana. So be careful of that. So now, Agonizing Remorse. This is a draft. It is best of 3. Both Defend and Remorse get better when you can think about it in terms best of 1 versus best of 3. There's also an Unwilling Ingredient that if we're into Silver Quill aggro, totally wears Expanded Anatomy just fine. So what did I take? I can't remember. I think because it's best of 3, I think I took Defend, but I was very close on Defend versus Remorse and just decided that since we're best of 3, I would take the real removal card. If you're up against Quandrix, you want to defend the campus in that deck. You're going to pick off a gigantic ground creature at some point. So let's see, what did I take? Let's find out. Oh, no, I took Agonizing Remorse. Well, there you go. But I think Defend is defensible, but Agonizing Remorse is fine, too. This is interesting as well. In a sense, the Introduction to Annihilation is the most open card here, but signals are a thing as well. And there also comes a point where I want to try and take my stand in my color and not send openness signals downstream. So if this was not removal, I think I took Expel, but I'm not sure if maybe I should have taken Intro to Annihilation, but my thought was they're both removal. This is in my colors. It's pack 1. Let's take my colored card so I'm sending good signals. So I think that's what I took here. Yep, there it is. Interesting campus here. Not much going on. You can take an assistant, a campus guide in case you want to be potentially 3-color. Lumimancer, maybe you take Lumimancer and somehow you end up in a place where you got so many spells going on that you actually are aggro enough for this. But where I am right now here today would be taking assistant. I can't remember what I did yesterday. Let's find out. Yeah, assistant, good enough. What I like about assistant is that it does double duty. It can buy back 7 drops for a Prismari deck. It can buy back your Guiding Voices for an aggro deck, so that in turn 4 you go assistant, grab Guiding Voice, turn 5 make the assistant a 3/2, get a lesson, and heck, get Expanded Anatomy and make it a 5/4, right? I mean, there's a lot you can do with the assistant as a get something small to help finish aggro, or get something big to help close out a big spell, right? So this was pick 9, and Hunt for Specimens comes back. That's pretty signally to me. I hope I take that here. Yep, there's the Hunt. And now we get the nice known missing information. Combat Prof, a lot of stuff gone here, but a lot of stuff still here. At this point, probably Ingredient is the thing that plays the best control the best aggro. I'm not sure what I chose, actually. Let's find out. But yeah, I was on Ingredient, so glad to see I'm consistent from day to day. Another interesting one, we are in best of 3. Go Blank goes up a little bit there. Also, Go Blank can just be brutal. I had I had a match over the weekend. Was it? No, it wasn't. Anyway, I was totally about to take over the game. It was a different event. I had 2 past callers, and I curved out into a 5 land in play, 2 past callers in hand, and I'm like, Oppo is done for. And then I thought, oh, they're playing black though. What's the name of that discard? And before I could even think of the discard spell name, they cast it and made me discard my 2 past callers. I lost that game. I think I take this here, but another assistant is not the dumbest. But yeah, go blank has enough power. And if you're doing attrition go long, it's going to find its mark, you know. Yeah, Orator Menace is a good call on the ingredient. I did remember that at the time. Rescuer to get back 2 drops or an Essence Infusion. We already have the Expanded Anatomy in the lesson board, and Rescuer is a legit 2-for-1. Obviously, a 2/2 flyer for 5 is no great bargain, but a 2/2 flyer is a full card. It's a real card that must be dealt with, and so the clause of getting a 3 or less back makes it a legit 2-for-1 if expensive, but I do like it. So I think I took that. Yeah, I took that over Infusion, which kind of sets up your opponent to get you 2-for-1. And then here's where I'm willing to take a Stonerise Spirit, right? And I'll play these, especially if I have the Expanded Anatomy. I've come way up on Stonerise Spirit when I have ample +1/+1 counters. If this never grows beyond 1/2, I think it's significantly below replacement. But the Exile Clause is a finishing move for aggro, and the ability to get +1 counters in white-black is quite real, such that you can make Stonerise Spirit a real threat, which is what you need to do, or else people can just ignore it. Take a Sloth here, probably. I go whatever. And Dragon's Approach, last pick. All right. Now, pack 2, pick 1. Rush Rebirth is our rare. We're nowhere near it. The cards that jump out, we got an Expel, we got another Essence Infusion, but we got another Biblioplex Assistant. But this is pretty darn rough. This is not a good pack, right? So, oh yeah, Pledge Mage was the other consideration. It doesn't leap out at you because of the green in it, but yes, Pledge Mage, basically big beef Pledge Mage. Expel for the piece of removal, or Pass Caller for the spec, right? I don't want Essence Infusion for the same reason I said. I mean, I just passed Essence Infusion second to last pick for a pillar drop. If it wheels again, I'll take it, but I'm not looking to first pick Essence Infusion basically ever. Yeah, the trouble is Expel is not the removal we want in these colors, right? I'm trying to be aggressive, and I mean, I want to have interaction, but Expel is just like the worst interaction when you're trying to be aggressive. Not the worst, but it's frustrating interaction when you're trying to be aggressive. So what I decided to do was take the Pass Caller on spec here. It's just a very powerful card. It's pretty easily splashable. We could end up with Environmental Sciences. We already have a couple of Learn spells, right? So I figured speccing on the powerful 2-for-1 6-drop was reasonable. So I took that. Now what? We've got a splashable Mortality Spear, similarly splashable as the Pass Caller number 2 here. We got an Expanded Anatomy. We could just say, hey, we've got a solid learning curve already, and so let's learn up some more anatomy. But I've already taken a step towards the possible splash, so I could continue the splash. I continue working towards a possible splash with the Rage or the Pass Caller. And honestly, I feel like I missed this. I didn't really see the Rage because of the frame, the Mystical Archive frame. I glossed over it. I took another Pass Caller on the strength of double, as long as you're splashing the 1, splashing 2 could be, solidify the reason to do that splash. Although if I'm thinking of red splash, I do like the interaction of Urza's Rage. I didn't really consider it at the time, which makes me think I didn't even see it. And you might be right, Fenner. Fenner says pass. It's not good enough. Not good enough either, and would just take the anatomy. But I should have at least noticed it, and I'm realizing now as I review this draft that I didn't notice it at the time. I went with another pass caller. I love this card. You got to get to 6, and it's vulnerable as a 2 toughness 6. But the number of times that this is just clocked for 4 in the air because my opponent had nothing to deal with flyers is frequent. And of course, getting back your best spell right away is right. No, seriously, Animosity, that was a different event. It was. But I did stop to think about it because I knew that I drafted 2 pass callers here, but it was a different event. Well, now what? So I'm looking at this pass caller splash, right? And then we get a scroll wielder. We don't even have that many spells yet, but you don't need that many spells as long as you're casting them for free. Not for free, but you're effectively drawing them for free would be the better way to put it. Drawing extra spells for free, because you still have to pay the mana. Each upkeep is pretty powerful. And what are we passing? Spirit Summoning would be nice. And Pilgrim of the Ages would be nice. And Rescuer, all nice. But I don't know, pass caller and a pass caller. I was fine taking a scroll wielder here. So now what's going on? Now I'm also saying, well, what is my... Obviously, I'm pretty darn white here with the Guiding Voice, the Orator, and Expel. But you could make a case and the pass callers, but the only things I have that are specifically black are a Go Blank that I would probably want to sideboard anyway, and Umbral Juke, Hunt, and Ingredient. And Remorse is also yeah, you can play it, but you don't have to, right? The only things there's really only 2 cards I'm even excited about in black right now: Umbral Juke and Hunt. I think Unwilling Ingredient is extremely replaceable, and Agonizing Remorse and Go Blank are extremely replaceable. So this is now starting to go, okay, well, maybe are we just pivoting here? When I look at them, I mean, sure, like I'm not talking about it because I'm trying to focus on the decisions I was making. But I didn't see, for the same reason that I passed on a blue card pick 3, because I was already saying like, well, blue is the most unrelated to white and black you can be in the set. I really did kind of stop seeing blue cards once I got deep in. Maybe that's is that a leak in my game, that I'm not creative enough to find my way into Dimir or whatever in these types of formats when it's showing itself to be wide open? Perhaps. But for now, let us continue. All right, so now we've got Arrogant Poet, Eager First Year, Blood Age General, and Lorehold Pledge Mage. To me, this is an easy Eager First Year. Yeah, but for what? I don't know. We could go back, like, if I go... Let's see if we can do this. Like, okay, at what point here am I supposed to be abandoning all this to go into blue? You show me. So, abandoning this to go into blue yet? Like Masterpiece or Pledge Mage? No. You think this is pretty signally? Because it has Masterpiece and a Pledge Mage? I don't think so. Okay, Trickster at 7. Thing is, everybody's like, wow, I thought Frost Trickster was going to be insane because Frost Lynx was pretty good. Trickster has flying, but it's an aggro-ish card. I don't think of this as a heavy signal. I like a Frost Trickster if I'm playing a tempo game, but I don't think I'm really supposed to not take Expel or Introduction here to grab a Frost Trickster? Really? I'm not down on Masterpiece. I'm just not saying it's a signal at pick 6, Fenor. And again, I'm saying, so, okay, there's a Frost Trickster here. Really? Raise your hand if you're literally taking the Frost Trickster out of this pack, passing Expel and Introduction when this is your pile so far. Seriously, come on. Anybody? Seriously taking the Frost Trickster here. Okay, Rob, but what's your point? At what point do you switch? Are you taking a Frost Trickster here? Rob is saying, but the amount of blue-red signals in these packs. Where are you taking a blue-red card? Here? You gonna snap that Blood Age General up? No. Here? Another Blood Age General for you. Clearly blue-red. There's a hunt for specimens and we're white-black, right? Well, I'm not even saying commit to your colors as much, Phil, as I'm saying tell me when we were supposed to abandon this for blue-red, right? Like, everybody's like, well, you missed the blue-red boat. Or not everybody. Some of you are saying, oh, the Prismari deck we could have had. And I'm saying, you show me where you would be in Prismari and I'm not. Radiantware, this is getting on with it. Don't make me time you out. I mean, geez, if you don't like this content, see ya, because this is what we do here. Get on with it. You go get on with it. Go get on with your day without me then. So yeah, I still don't see any place where we're jumping into blue-red. So all of you Prismari folks who are like, oh, you missed the Prismari. I call. You all missed the Prismari. None of you are in Prismari because that's not the way you would draft this pack. It's not. So, you seriously think that with this pile we're supposed to stay open and grab the Opus? All right, now I gotta go back and look. You're seriously taking a okay, this is the one place. I guess this, and this are maybe weak enough to maybe consider this, but Elemental Masterpiece is merely fine in Prismari. I don't consider this a signal. Anyway. All right, let's catch up to where we were. It is actively good. I just don't think it's so good that you abandon playables in your clearly not Prismari pile. I mean, it's 2 colors. I don't know. I kind of like 5 damage draw, but it depends. There's times where each come into play nicely. And so, like, yeah, Magma Opus here, boy. And so for those of you who did take if you seriously think that you would take the 2 4/4s, pick 6, it's still the only thing you have. I guess maybe you've taken a Frost Trickster. I don't know. If you went through this draft and you're on Magma Opus here because of the genius way in which you drafted the first pack to have a couple of blue-red cards, I guess I salute you. I just don't see it. I don't see how you end up with this in your pile reasonably drafting that first pack. I think it's hindsighty to call that. Anyway, let's see. We took that one. We are back to me taking the first year here. And we are now on Prophecy or what? There's nothing but Prophecy or Squad, I suppose, if you like that, or this is where Lorehold Excavation, if we feel like, I mean, one question is, are we Boros or are we Orzhov, right? So I'm going to take Prophecy here, I think. Yep, add to those lessons. This is somewhat interesting. Commons and letter could move towards some sort of 3-color deck. Start from scratch is a fine lesson option if we are red-white. I think I took the start from scratch. Historian is yeah, I think Historian, this is a super important card for Lorehold, but one of the reasons it's super important to me is that it goes very, very late. You don't have to prioritize them and they just fall in your lap. So I think I took the start from scratch on replaceability. Yeah. Expel, ingredient, shock. What do you think? Ingredient, like, I mean, I think we're, at this point, my mentality is that Lorehold is open. We have 3 very good Lorehold cards and solid white. Let's just move into Lorehold. That was my thought at this point. And shock is the kind of removal I want in Lorehold as opposed to expel. So I think I took that. Yeah. And now we get some interesting, we have another start from scratch, but you really just need the 1, so I don't think I took that. Probably Lorehold Apprentice. It's not a good apprentice. This is, I think, the worst apprentice. Wait, maybe there's another one that's pretty weak, but this apprentice is, I think, one of the reasons Lorehold is underwhelming is like, you want this to be so good and it's so not. But it is a 2/2 for 2 in colors. And there's Warden, though, at 4. I'm loving the Warden, but keep in mind we have 2 return pass callers and an assistant, so we are already doing the return spells thing. And yeah, it is so bad for a 2-color spell, Rob. I don't disagree, but it is generally going to be quite castable, or else you're in trouble anyway because you didn't get both of your mana to start. I've used its ability once or twice, Tron. Very rarely, but mostly this is just a 2-drop, a hard-to-cast 2-drop, where you'd rather just have the dumb Historian, not Historian, the one that taps to give spirits +1 or whatever. But anyway, Lorehold Apprentice still the pick for me, because we're already doing the spell return thing and 2s. 2s, right? You got to take care of your 2s. We're pack 2, pick 8. We got 3 2s, and we're playing a Guiding Voice. That's not acceptable. Guiding Voice is good, but you want to get 1s and 2s to support it. And we had more of them back when we thought we were black. It's kind of interesting to see when 17 Lands thinks it switched to to red-white as well. Picking up the shock made it switch to red-white. That's interesting. Anyway, let's, yeah, Eager First Year. I would trade Lorehold Apprentices for Eager First Years in basically every deck that I've played a Lorehold Apprentice. I think that's true. What did I take over? Rage? Second Past Caller. Oh, I think I didn't verify. Yeah, there we go. Easy Campus here. And this is what I'm talking about. Come on back, Historians. Another Frost Trickster for those of you who wanted to be on the Prismari train. But Historian, pretty easy. And that's where I like to get them. Free Historians. Nothing here, though. It doesn't even matter what I guess I took Revitalize, but it doesn't. It's not a pack that matters. Blood Age General. This is what I was talking about. I would rather have Blood Age Generals than Lorehold Apprentice. The Magecraft here does so little, and it's just harder to cast, right? But happy to pick up some bears, given the Guiding Voice and whatnot. Mentor also fine. 3/3 for 3. It's fine. Took the Mentor. A little sideboard Claim. Not a good build around, yeah. So here's another Lorehold Apprentice to ignore. A third Past Caller. Although at some point there is a diminishing return on a 6-mana 2-for-1. Other considerations include Intro and Guiding Voice. On pure need, I think it's pretty clear Guiding Voice here. This is the most powerful card. But the returns are diminishing on these, and the returns are not diminishing on more Guiding Voices, especially given that we are looking to cut the hunt for specimens, which means we're currently on 1 one learn spell, right? Do we have any other learn? I don't think there's any other learn in the deck at this point. So to me, it was a tough but grown-up guiding voice, which I took. And look, we got paid. Had to pass a rip apart, which is exactly the kind of interaction you want to pick up for Lorehold, but Blade Historian is a game winner. So we took that. The sound of coffee. Now what? Illustrious Historian for the 2s or just a Pledge Mage for the 3s? I think it's a pretty clean Pledge Mage for the 3s. With the way Historians wheel, we should probably get this one back. And if not, there's a Campus Guide we could throw in it too. Here's the Pledge Mage pick. So, another interesting choice. Here we go. We're still low on interaction. We've got Shock and Expel. And here's another chance at an Expel, which we could absolutely take. But again, it's not the interaction we're quite looking for here. Although it's better in Lorehold than the Silver Quill where we used to be. But Expanded Anatomy with the solid base of 2s and the Inkling Summoning we've got for the board and stuff. I went for the Anatomy, I believe. Yeah. Because I will cast this twice in a game. I mean, you get these flyers up, you get these 2-drops down. Just Anatomy and Pressure is a real way to go here. So that's what I took. And then we get a Quintorius, the underperforming Quintorius. The wish it were better Quintorius. The couldn't this be a 3-4 Quintorius? Couldn't this be a 2-5 Quintorius? You know, just like... No, Quintorius is not good, but is there enough synergy to give it a try? We have Pass Callers triggering it. We have Pillar Drop triggering it. We have Assistant triggering it. We have Scroll Wielder triggering it. What else was there? Historian, when doing the exile thing, triggers it. Ultimately, basically, I was like, no, this isn't amazing, but what's the opportunity cost here? Another assistant, a campus to potentially splash, a shredder, which actually does work with the Historian. I took the Historian knowing that he's been underperforming, but I didn't see what else to take here, and I felt like we had the synergies to give him a chance. Now we get hooked up with a third guiding voice or some best of 3 interaction and a defend. Don't have one of those yet, but I can't pass a guiding voice here. It kind of ties the room together, you know what I mean? Like, we're a little underspelled, but when you've got 3 cheap learn spells, suddenly you've got 6 spells, right? A bed of sloths? I did not know that. Animal group names are the best. This one looks like a defend to me. I think that's where I picked up a defend over Defiant Strike, Artist, or Sloth. Yeah, I think that's fine. Another Expel, but a Pillar Drop Warden. And I think maybe I was supposed to take the Expel here. We just ended up pretty short on interaction, but Pillar Drop's hard to pass. I think I took that. But that's what's fun about them, Fenrir. They're like middle names. They're so weird and wacky, but nobody ever uses them. And here we are again with a Lorehold Apprentice. I think I took the Lorehold Apprentice, but maybe I should have just taken the Historian. I generally like all the 2/2s more than Lorehold Apprentice, but the toughness does matter, especially, frankly, it matters when you're doing things like Guiding Voice and double Expanded Anatomy. Because then you're getting this, you know, out of trade range. The trouble with like Guiding Voice on an Illustrious Historian is that it still just trades off with a lot of stuff. It doesn't win combat early. Whereas I like the 2/2s early with the triple Guiding Voice because you go turn 2, 2/2. They go turn 2, 2/2. You go turn 3, make my 2/2 into a 3/3 that can attack through your 2/2 and play another 2/2. So I believe I took the Apprentice, but this is justifiable because it does more. But yeah, I took the Apprentice on the strength of that toughness. Fenner is your no fun police. Fenner is the fun police for chat today. You're not allowed to have fun talking about murders of crows. Look, the fact that tons and tons of crows descend upon the Wizards parking lot daily every fall. It's really weird. It must be some stopover in a migration. I don't know. But like, it is crazy how many crows show up in the WotC parking lot in the fall. And without that group name Fenner, you would not be able to make the joke that you saw a murder in the WotC parking lot. I made that joke every year, and I can't make that dad joke without the weird and useless group animal names. Sorry, back to the draft. Pretty easy intro to Prof. Nothing else here. I don't even need to show it. There's literally nothing else in this pack but that introduction. Campus guide, we hope not to play. Star pupil that I'm just not going to play. And all these sloths that we hope not. Check this out. You talk about open colors. The green that started to be showing up late was what was killing me. I mean, Pledge Mage. This is like pick 8. We got to pick 8 Pledge Mage into Zoomancy, into, well, okay, this isn't great, but just a lot of quality green card. Cultivate? What does a pick 11 Cultivate do in here? And a mage duel. Anyway, green showed up as being kind of quite open. We took the Tome Shredder there, at least, and then a sloth for the board. All right, so there's the draft. I thought it was interesting how Silver Quilly was early, pivoted to Lorehold. Some question about whether anybody would have pivoted to Prismari successfully or not. But yeah, if I thought it was too late to change lanes to Prismari in Pack 2, it was certainly too late to change lanes to that in Pack 3. That being said, now let's hop back to the client. And I'll show you where we ended up. Oops, I don't need that. Yeah, like, seems like people abandon green, right? So I'm going to give you the 17 lands link. If you would like to, well, you can let's look at the deck building, and also we'll share with you. Whoa, that's a lot of noises. What's with those noises? Here's my current build. We can talk about some of the final choices. Maybe you'll talk me off of some of these. But I also want to give you the 17 lands link so that if you would like to review the games I played, you could even you can step through the matches you missed if you want, but you can see how it went so far. And then, so we don't have a lot to work with here. First of all, let's look at first what we're even considering in terms of sideboarding. Assuming no black splash, and I don't think there should be, our only real choices for sideboarding are an extra assistant or an assistant. I think I cut the assistant over for Pillar Drop Warden. Like, basically Pillar Drop, that late Pillar Drop Warden to me was an upgrade to the assistant. And then we've got a Revitalize and these sloths. There's basically no sideboarding. That's the problem. So my least good card in here is the Tome Shredder, I believe. I think that's probably my weakest card, but it is a kind of a good combo with Quintorius. Another problem with the deck, though, overall, is that, like, Tome Shredder is looking at instants and sorceries. Return Pass Caller is looking at spirits as well, which is important. But basically, what was the other one? Oh, and Scroll Wielder. So Scroll Wielder is exiling instants and sorceries while Quintorius, while Tome Shredder wants to exile them too. So there's a lot of competition in this deck to be getting back, like Warden and Double Pass Caller get back spells. You've got Scroll Wielder and Tome Shredder exiling them, and we only have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them main deck. Oh, sorry, my bad. I hit the wrong button when I came in. Apologies, and then I got into my mode and didn't look. So hopefully you at least heard what I was saying. So to quickly recap, only 6 total spells, competing spell usage in Double Pass Caller and Warden, competing with exiling it via Tome Shredder and Scroll Wielder. So there is some non-bow synergy going on here, competing resource synergy on a resource we don't actually have a lot of. Guiding Voice is hugely important for the deck because it effectively increases our spell count from 6 to 9, in the sense that every time we cast Guiding Voice, we get to go and get another spell. And by spell, I mean instant or sorcery. And that's really important to actually feed all of these payoffs we have for having instants and sorceries in our graveyard. So, Expel also not really good for the Scroll Wielder situation, because your opponent can just make sure to not play into it by not having anything tapped. And is it that turn? You can cast it this turn, but it's your turn, so either their stuff is tapped or it isn't, right? Anyway, this is where the deck is at. I don't think there's much to do in terms of changes because of the pivot and because of the lesson learned context. There's just not a lot to play with in this board. So I'm going to stick with it. I'm going to go home now. I don't think there's any changes anyway, but I'll hit discard. And we'll see if we can get a couple more wins here.
¿Dónde está la biblioteca? Me llamo Tim con la araña discoteca.
Sorry, double memed you there. We call those mashups. Here, now I'm going to give you a Bibliobot alone since it's nice.
¿Dónde está la biblioteca? Me llamo Tim con la araña discoteca.
All right, gang, here we go. I ran into Profumato FTK yesterday. He's one of my matches. He was streaming too. I went in after and said hello. You can check out that. That was an interesting one too. That was a good match. Spoilers for the Profumato match. At one point, he Test of Talents, my first voice, and exiled all 3 of my voices. I did not win that game, I don't think. Well, this is kind of rough. This is our very, very top end. We are very far off from playing these, but we get to cast anything we draw, and we are on the draw. I mean, if you draw some early plays, we're fine, but I think it's too loose to keep this. And then, of course, now we have to keep this and hope that we find some white, but I'm going to keep. And we're hoping to voice up a Tome Shredder. Ugh. This is all yucky. I think I go Pillar Drop. Because I don't know, it's a white card that's like, if we get white, I'll be happy to have the Pass Caller for the Guiding Voice. But this gives us our worst card on 3. Hey, we found our white, that's nice. Hunt for specimens with the sciences over there. Okay, we can go Campus as something to do here on 2. Now we've got a 3, 4, 5? 3, 4, and then this plus a lesson. And given that we stumbled, I actually don't mind Oppo starting on, you know, lesson environmental sciences. Historian, you are so late. So we could go Historian and guide it up, and then Shredder next turn on the haste. Or we can Shredder next turn. Well, I just Shredder this turn, I suppose, and then next turn we can Historian voice. Mana Tithe. We got, I guess. I suppose if we get Got, that's the one to do it. It's funny, I almost played the Historian, but I'm like, I should use all my mana. Alright, here... Now I like Pledge Mage, throw Guiding Voice on it so that we have a growing first striker on the ground. Tron wants the Warden. Warden does block everything right away, that's true, but I like getting the voice on this while shields are down. We can get a summoning for the air or start from scratch, kills a pest, introduction to dig, probably just summoning or expanded anatomy. They don't have any flyer blockers, so the summoning is tempting, but also expanded anatomy on this gives us a must answer ground threat, and we could also put it on like the Historian. Like we draw a land, we can go Historian suited up. Anyway, I'm going to take expanded anatomy here over going wider with the summon spell. Yeah, Hat is saying that's too many eggs in a basket. I get it. We don't need to put it here, though. That's stinky, but I think these are both spirits. Oh, no, that's a shaman. They probably get rid of our pass caller. Or maybe not. Pass caller's a couple lands away. You get a humiliate meme, though.
You're short, your belly button sticks out too far, and you're a terrible burden on your poor mother.
Interesting choice, because now if we find... Okay, there you go. Now if we find our lands, we get our Warden back. But nope, that's not how that's going to work. Although, now maybe they don't have an answer, right? Maybe that was their whole plan. In which case, well, we can... If we're not blocking here, I guess I could make a 5/5 that threatens to block this. We can also just 2-spell and figure out where to put this next turn. Yeah, it could be a second Tithe, no joke. But I'm going to go 2-spell and send. A little aggressive. They're at 18, we're at 13, about to take more. But we're going to try and retake the aggression lead after Anatomy. Uh-oh. More underwhelming Lorehold Apprentice stuff. Now looks like I gotta go Anatomy on Pledge Mage, or else we don't have anything that gets through the Mage Hunter anyway. The Vigilance is nice. We can try to get in some damage and still stay back on D. But worried about where this is headed. Oh, is that? Oh, not a spirit. I was like, I was going to tap this to deal damage, but it's not a spirit. I was actually going to use it. Boo earns. Well, now we are in not chump mode. Let's see. If we end up with this down, we have 5 total toughness, so we can 2-for-1 ourselves with a block everything. We've got Hunt for Specimens, which is probably going to find something to close the door. If they find some removal, then we don't have the triple block. But I feel like I need to take here and hope I find my Expel or something to make the triple block, or just set up for a triple block. Not a good spot, though. Maybe they're out of lessons and do nothing? Oh, they're not out of lessons. Basically dead. But we could still get up in the air here. I think I'll give us a mostly.
Your friend here is only mostly dead.
Well, that sinks us quite good. Nothing to do about it now, but scoop it up. And again, the trouble, we don't have a lot of sideboarding to do. I mean, we could bring in a... Basically, if we think 4/4s for 5 are actually good, we could bring them in. But this game is over. And, you know, you could make a case for them. Can I just say, like... I'm really disappointed in Wizards for this design. I mean, maybe it's a weird thing to like be disappointed about, but it's like part of the like some simple reasons Lorehold falls flat are cards like this that just have no real home in the format. And why does this have no real home in the format? It's a 4/4 for 5. Do you know what I do for, you know how I get my 4/4s for 5 in Strixhaven? I get my elemental summoning. That's what I do. I get additional value after all of my, after, like, to play a Relic Sloth and trade it off for a 4/4 token is just, it just feels awful. So, like, anyway, like, I really wish this just had, couldn't they have put an extra point of toughness on this? You make this a 4/5. It's actually an interesting card in the format. It slots in an interesting place. It has an interesting job. But as is, I almost consider it unplayable because of its matchups against the plethora of 4/4s for 5 in the format that you get as added value instead of spending a whole entire card on. Right. Cog Archivist has its role, right? Sometimes you bring that in, and part of the reason you bring it in is like it's 4/5. It really matches up well against all those pesky elementals. Anyway, we're running it back, and we're not going to mulligan, and we're going to get a sweet hand and take it to game 3. You'll see. All right, well, now we got to keep this and decide what to keep. The thing is, I mean, I could keep the Stonerise Spirit. It'll block those turn 2 pests. You dump Quint, but Quint with Pass Caller after an Expel is how we get back into this. I think I actually ditched the Stonerise Spirit as being not impactful enough. Given the Expel. So, yeah, Spirit is an engine for Quintorius, that's true. I didn't even mention that when I was talking about the synergies for Quintorius when we were talking about it before, but I'm going to do it this way. Maybe that's controversial, but I think that Spirit is going to do less for us than Expel and these other cards will if we win this game, it's going to be because we get to these and they do their thing.
Well, Miss Muffet sat on a tougher.
Glad you picked up this Mentor. It's something to do besides Expel on turn 3. And now we have turn 4 Expel and maybe turn 5 Quintorius with a land. Then turn 6 Pass Caller, get Expel back and make a thing. Or we get our hand ripped further by our opponent playing discard. I was afraid of this. Come back on at a 4-1 record and just lose in 2 games. But, you know... First of all, we're only mostly, if we're even mostly. But second, I knew I'd at least get a match out of it. Oppo stuck on lands. That was a big draw for them for sure. They're choosing not to allow me to use my Expel. They must have a... they might have something to deal with Quintorius. But what are we to do besides make them have it? I guess I could have done Blood Age General and then Expel. Thing is, Quintoria is not actually even doing anything for us on this board anyway. Little sour grapes, though. I knew they had that. We could have played around it. Well, now this agonizing remorse is just backbreaking, right? Because here we are. We did it, gang. we got to pass caller mana, but we don't have a pass caller no more. Yeah, I'm already pretty happy. We have profit for this event before we even started playing today. But I wanted to pick up another win or two if I could. But mulligan both games, and now flooding after mulliganing, and after getting hit by very good cards from Oppo. This is really looking terrible. Although I think I missed a... No, I didn't. I thought I might have missed a scry there, but we had cast the general, so we didn't have it. Now we got the scry, though. Maybe scrying will help us get back into it. Yeah, at some point you make me use this Expel, right? It's not going to be for that. Although, I'll definitely... This is super suspicious. I could block with the Mentor, but I'd rather block with the Blood Age and say trade or show me your trick, as opposed to trade or show me your trick with Mentor. Yeah, we could just take. That's true. We could also just take. But I feel like they're setting up to do something. Oh yeah, Light Scribe trigger, but that doesn't do it, the thing. That's the thing with this one toughness. It's still... Blood Age General still kills it. So if they did two spells, that would work, but I'm going to make them have it. Do it. Definitely binning that. If I were to scry, we'd use up all but two, so I could go digging for a 2-drop that we could play. I don't think that's worth it. We should just take a natural draw. All right, we get Orator plus Scry or Expel. Expel doing a lot of work, although if they didn't know about it, we already would have just used it for the Light Scribe, and and maybe that would be even better. I don't know. But the threat is certainly holding them off. This is how you accept Vanishing Verse. Like, Vanishing Verse can feel so bad, but it's 2 mana to get rid of something. You know, like... Just take away the rare symbol and like put a common symbol on it, and you'll feel better about this card. It's fine. So, if there is another instant, we can expel in response. So I'm going to go ahead and try and trade for the Light Scribe, and then use expel in response if they do something else here. You say block the squad. I say... Well, we could expel this to exile it so it doesn't more things get counters. I think we got to do this though. It's just too powerful a card to let live. Now we can block the squad. This becomes a 3-2, but we can still trade for it. That's all pretty reasonable. Or 4-3, rather, but we can still trade for it. We could scry here, but I'm probably just going to make a 3-2. Get a couple of things that can trade for a 4-3 Pilgrim. All right, it wasn't mostly here.
Your friend here is only mostly dead.
Heck, making this was scrying. I forgot that. And we can destroy that, but... Yeah, I totally forgot the scry. We'll send... We could kill this and send both, drop them to 10. Should we just, but the trouble is killing this, they get it back right away. We could send in and they probably block the Stonebound Mentor, so I could use defend to pump. But they have the mana to get it back, which is my issue with getting aggressive here. Because they can get it right back. Of course, then it's small again and cannot defeat the Mentor. Yeah, so I'm going to offer this one. And actually defending and killing this on their turn a lot better. We can actually block with the Mentor. Oh, never mind. As you say, we can block and force them to have something. We can just kill this now, though, while shields are down, which I think we're going to need to do, given this board state. So let's go ahead and do that. Now, do we want to scry on upkeep? We'd be looking for a 2 again, so I'm once again going to draw naturally here. Unfortunate draw, but it'll help us. Now I'm willing to scry because we can get a 3. We can find and play a 3. And we could do something like, well, I don't know. We'll still see. But no attacks and probably no blocks. We're getting backed up again. Which is why we are not, I consider us still mostly dead and not, like, in the lead. We had kind of quasi-stabilized, but I wasn't buying it with cards in hand. Hunt for specimens. Ugh.
Oh, you guys made me eat.
Good scry there. But if I were to scry looking for a 3, what are we looking for? Lorehold, Pledge Mage, and Tome Shredder and Apprentice, Stonerise Spirit, Eager First Year, Shock, Guiding Voice are the types of cards we could scry to. Maybe trying to scry to a Shock makes some sense given our life totals. If we draw a land, it's extra bad. What big stuff are we hoping to draw if we don't scry? We can draw a Pillar Drop Warden and cast that. Scroll Wielder. Pillar Drop Rescuer would be a fine draw, natural draw, or a Past Caller. So there's arguments for both, but there's a lot of really good stuff to draw that is above 3 mana, so I'm going to naturally draw. It's close, though. Scroll Wielder is one of those cards, and if it lives, we could survive. If we get to cast Expel, Defend for free, then that could be good. We're going to stay back on D here. Probably have to take 5 and go to 2. Taking the Sky, taking the 3/4. Oh, they're not even sending the 3/4. I guess so, because that's fair. I would double block here and we get to keep the Scroll Wielder. Not sending this, sending this. So I'm going to put the token on the 1/1. I'm a little nervous. This could be something that turns this into a trade or whatever, but I can't see taking this. Especially when, yes, Mage Hunter is going to make this all costly to cast spells. Aha! Welp. I was wondering what that was about, and now we know. Still only mostly, but very mostly. Very, very, very mostly. Yeah, I should put a upkeep scry on, although I'm going to do this again anyway, and I usually do it then. But yes, we're definitely going to doing a multiple scries here. Although, what are we even looking for? 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 mana. We can actually pass Caller into Expel to live, so maybe we don't scry, because other than that, if we scry, we have 4 mana left, and the 4 mana remaining, what does that get us? It gets us a Pillar Drop. That would solve the problem. But that's the only thing it really gets us to solve the problem is a Pillar Drop. So yeah, let's see what the 5, 6, 7, 8. But they cannot bring back and play this Pilgrim right now. Just show us the Pass Caller, and then this is easy. I think we got to draw naturally. I think a Pass Caller is a huge part of our out. Like Pass Caller is basically our best out. I think we got to go for a Pass Caller. One time, dealer. Let's at least get one more game. Come on. Come on, Magic Gods. You know it would be exciting if we got a Pass Caller, right? You like excitement. You're gods. Wah, wah. And so it was. Let's scry and see what happens. What's one below? Pledge Mage. All right, Oppo, you got us. What a bummer. Pretty happy with getting 4-2 out of this deck, though. I thought it was had a reasonably powerful stuff going on, but that was rough. We mulliganed both games and just kind of suffered the consequences. I think we managed decently given our mulligan and drawing. Oppo had a solid deck, though. And we'll go spend one of our draft tokens in 10 packs. That's cool. Come on. That's cool. We'll open some packs. Do a profit dance. We'll come back to you in a pack. I got a busy afternoon ahead, but let's at least jump in and start a Premier draft, and we'll see how it goes. Maybe I'll finish it, maybe I won't. Hey, Dorvin, good games. You knocked me out of it. How are you doing in the event? Double mulligan into just your discard spells were just backbreaking. It was like every time I thought, we're okay, we can do this, we're gonna be dead. We're gonna be dead. Before I hop into that, though, let's actually say goodbye to YouTube buddies. Hey, YouTube friends, I hope you enjoyed that. Let me know what you think in the comments if you're cool with review drafts like that. I think there's something to be said for me checking back on, standing behind myself and kind of co-piloting my own drafting is interesting. And the ability to take as long as we need pick to pick to discuss what we think about it is also fun too. So I had a good time with that. Let me know if you want more of that. And I can find sweet drafts that I did off air and review them with you on air. Maybe we can start reviewing maybe even other people's drafts as a channel points redemption or something and doing some draft doctor stuff. But thanks for hanging out and hope you enjoyed it. Let's go get them again in the next challenge and we'll see you then. Bye, YouTube friends.